8 weeks. That is the great filter. If you are listening to this, you made it past the panic. The grocery store riots are ancient history. The grid going down is just a memory. The initial die-off has finished, and the smell of the cities has finally started to drift out to the countryside. You are alive. But here is the hard truth that nobody wants to admit. The easy part is over. Surviving the chaos was just luck and adrenaline. Now comes the grind. And the biggest threat downrange isn't the walking rock bags stumbling through the woods. It is the silence. Because sooner or later, you are going to see smoke on the horizon. And you are going to have to decide if that smoke means rescue, or if it means you are about to lose everything you have scraped together. Welcome to the new world. I'm Sergeant Miller. For the last 2 months, your SOP has been isolation. You lock the doors, you black out the windows, and you treat every moving shadow like a hostile target. That kept you breathing. But isolation has a shelf life. You are running low on antibiotics. Your scavenged canned goods are thinning out. And you look at your family, your spouse, your kid, and you see them getting thinner. You see the hollow look in their eyes. You can't survive as a lone wolf forever, not when the biological threat density is this high. You need a network. But building a network in a zone crawling with the infected is a tactical nightmare. Today, we are breaking down the mechanics of first contact in a hostile biozone. Before we move to the tree line, listen up. This isn't just entertainment. This is a briefing for a reality that is closer than you think. I'm giving you the raw intel, but the advanced tactics, the maps, the comms protocols, the gear lists, that happens in the war room. If you want to be prepared when the grid fails, click the join button below. Enlist in the unit, secure your rank. Don't be the civilian standing around waiting for FEMA when the balloon goes up. Join the curriculum. Now, let's look at that smoke. It's 0900 hours. Cold morning. You're on the roof of your shelter. Maybe it's that farmhouse you secured week 3. You're scanning your sector. The tree line to the east is usually dead quiet, just the occasional straggler zombie caught in the brush. But today, you see it. Movement. Not the shambling, erratic stumble of the undead. This is purposeful. You raise your optics. 4 figures, moving in a diamond formation. They aren't walking down the centre of the road like amateurs. They're hugging the shade, weapons at the low ready. They pause every 20 metres to listen. This isn't a mob. It's a squad. Your heart hammers against your ribs, not from fear of the dead, but from the terrifying variable of the living. Here is where the average civilian gets their family killed. They see people not eating faces, and desperate loneliness kicks in. They want to wave. They want to fire a warning shot to say, "Stay back." Both are death sentences. If you wave, you expose your position to potential raiders. If you fire a warning shot, you just rang the dinner bell for every zombie within a mile radius. You do not engage yet. You observe. The untrained survivor acts on hope. The trained survivor acts on intel. You need to know if they are refugees, soldiers, or hunters, and you can't know that by asking. You watch how they treat the terrain. Now, I know what you're thinking. The comments are going to light up with, "Sarge, I'd just stay hidden, never trust anyone." That is the steelman argument for the lone wolf. And sure, for the first month, that worked. But let's play that out. You stay hidden. You break your ankle tomorrow. Who runs perimeter? Who scavenges water? Your 10-year-old? You don't build alliances because you want friends. You build them because you need a force multiplier. If that squad down there has a medic, and you have a secure water source, that trade is worth the risk of a parley. The logic isn't friendship, it's logistics. You engage because the math of survival demands it. But here is the zombie-specific kicker. In a grid-down civil unrest scenario, you worry about them shooting you. In a zombie scenario, you have to worry about what they are dragging with them. Are they being trailed? A group moving that fast usually has a tail. You scan behind them. Sure enough, 300 yards back, the brush is moving. They aren't just travelling, they are being hunted by a herd. If you invite them in, you invite the herd. This changes the calculus immediately. You aren't just meeting people, you are managing a biological payload. You decide to make contact, but on your terms. You grab your radio, a simple walkie-talkie, but you don't use it yet. You move out to the pre-designated hardpoint you scouted weeks ago. It's an open field, no cover for zombies to hide, good sightlines. You step out, weapon visible but muzzle depressed. You don't aim at them, that triggers a firefight. You aim at the ground. You signal. They freeze. You see the lead man tap his helmet. They spread out. They don't bunch up. That's good. Discipline. One of them points back at the tree line, acknowledging the zombies trailing them. They know. They aren't bringing the problem to you by accident. They are looking for a place to make a stand. Most people treat this like a Hollywood standoff. Screaming, aiming guns at faces, demanding they drop their weapons. Listen to me. If you tell a survivor to drop their weapon in week 8, they will shoot you. Their weapon is their life. Demanding disarmament is an act of aggression. The failed reaction is trying to dominate the interaction. You don't dominate, you de-escalate. You mirror their posture. If they lower rifles, you lower yours. You are establishing a common language that says, I am not the threat. The things in the woods are the threat. You might say, why not let the zombies get them? Loot their bodies after. That's the cold calculus. But here's the flaw. If they die in that field, you now have fresh zombies right on your doorstep. Fresh infected are fast, strong, and hungry. Plus, you lose the intel they carry. Where did they come from? What are the roads like to the west? Is the city burning? That intel is worth more than their backpack of beans. You need them alive long enough to debrief. The loot drop mentality is for video games. In the real world, dead neighbours just make the neighbourhood smell worse. The complication is the noise. One of them coughs. It's a wet, heavy hack. In a normal world, it's a cold. In week 8, that sound triggers every alarm bell in your head. Is it pneumonia? Or is it the early stage of the turn? The zombies in the woods react to the sound, shifting direction. Sound discipline is life. That cough just cuts your negotiation time in half. You have to make a call before the dead close the gap. You get within shouting distance. You keep it brief. Clear field to the north. I have overwatch. State your business. The leader steps up. He looks exhausted. Grey skin, cracked lips. We have a medic. We have supplies. We need a secure perimeter for 12 hours. A medic. That word hangs in the air like gold bullion. Your daughter has had a deep cut on her arm for 3 days. It's red. It's hot. You need a medic. But you can't just let them in. You have to check them. You have to strip search strangers in a field while the dead watch from the trees. The mistake here is skipping the medical check because it's awkward. Civility gets you killed. You invite them in, share a meal, and 4 hours later, the guy with the bandage on his ribs turns and bites your wife's throat out. You have to be ruthless. You tell them, shirts up, sleeves up, pants to the knees, check for bites. If they refuse, they are hiding something. The awkwardness is the price of admission. You are the gatekeeper of your family's lives. Do not be polite. Be thorough. People ask, Why would a doctor trade skills for a sleeping bag? Because skills don't stop bullets, and skills don't keep watch. The doctor needs you as much as you need him. He needs sleep. You can't perform surgery if you haven't slept in 3 days because you're terrified of being eaten. The trade is, we provide the walls, you provide the sutures. It's a mutual aid contract. This is how civilization restarts. Not with constitutions, but with transactions. Security for specialised labour. Here is the horror specific to this scenario. You check the medic. She's clean. You check the leader. Clean. You check the kid they have with them. And you see it. A scratch on the ankle. Not a bite, just a scratch. Did it come from a briar patch? Or a fingernail of a walker? In a zombie apocalypse, ambiguity is torture. You can't prove it's safe. You can't prove it's infected. You have to make a choice. Quarantine the kid and watch him like a hawk, or turn them all away. And if you turn them away, that medic leaves with them. You make the deal, they get the barn. It's detached from the main house. If they turn, they are contained. If they are hostile, you have the high ground from the house. You set the rules. Rule 1. No firearms discharge unless the perimeter is breached. Silencers, suppressors if you want to be technical, aren't movie quiet. A gunshot is a dinner bell. Rule 2. Quarantine for the kid. He stays in the horse stall. His parents can feed him, but the door stays barred. It's cruel. It breaks your heart to see the mother crying. But you look at your own kid and you lock that bolt. The failure is relaxing too soon. You let them in and you exhale. You think you have friends. You drop your guard. You start drinking that bottle of whiskey you've been saving. Wrong. The first 48 hours are the most dangerous. This is when betrayal happens. This is when the infection incubation period ends. You sleep in shifts. You sleep with your boots on. You keep your weapon on your chest. You are not hosting a dinner party. You are managing a volatile asset. Let's address the elephant in the room. Why hasn't the army fixed this? Why are we making deals in barns? Listen, the military operates on supply lines. In a total biological collapse, those lines break. The bases became hot zones within a week. The National Guard units that deployed to the cities, they got swarmed. The ones left are protecting what matters to the government. Bunkers, stockpiles, command nodes. They aren't coming to your farm. You are the government now. You are the CDC. You are the DoD. Stop looking at the sky for a Black Hawk and start looking at your neighbour for a skill set. The zombie element introduces the noise trap. The group settles in. They start cooking. The smell of food drifts. It doesn't just attract people, it attracts the dead who have retained some sensory function. And worse, the kid in the stall starts screaming. Maybe it's night terrors. Maybe it's the infection taking hold. That screaming is acoustic ammunition. The herd that was trailing them, they hear it. They start pushing against the barn doors. Now you have a siege, and you have to trust these strangers to hold their side of the wall. Night falls. The moaning starts. Low at first, then a chorus. The herd has arrived. They are pressing against the barnwood. You can hear the timber creaking. The strangers are in there. You are in the house. You have a choice. You can stay safe in the house and let the barn be overrun, let the problem solve itself, but that medic is in there, and your daughter is burning up with fever. You grab your rifle. You grab your spear. Bullets run out, steel doesn't. You radio the barn. We are coming out. Hold your fire. We are going to thin the herd. This is the moment the alliance becomes real. Blood binds better than ink. Panic fire. That's the amateur move. Someone sees a zombie window shopping and dumps a magazine. Now you're deaf, you're out of ammo, and you've drawn every walker for 5 miles. Controlled violence is the key. You use the environment. You use pikes through the gaps in the fence. You preserve resources. If you panic, you die. If you hesitate, you die. The failed reaction is emotional. The successful reaction is mechanical. Stab, retract, repeat. Critics will say, just drive away. Why defend a fixed position? Because fuel is finite. Because the roads are clogged with wrecked cars and death. And because winter is coming. You cannot survive on the road indefinitely. You need crops. You need water collection. You need a base. Defending a position is hard, but starving in a broken-down sedan on the highway is harder. We fight for this patch of dirt because it's the only thing keeping us from being refugees. And refugees have a survival rate of 0. During the fight, the barn door gives. Just a hinge pops. A crawler squeezes in. In the chaos, you can't tell who is biting whom. The medic screams. You have a split second. Do you shoot into the dark barn? If you hit the medic, your daughter dies of her infection. If you don't shoot, the medic gets bitten, turns, and kills the whole group. The complication is friendly fire. In a melee with the undead, the line between ally and monster gets blurry fast. You hold your fire. You trust them to handle their business. And you pray. Morning comes. The yard is a mess of bodies, re-dead bodies. The smell is atrocious. But the barn door is holding. You walk out. The leader of the other group walks out. He's covered in black gore. He nods. He didn't run. He didn't steal your truck in the chaos. He held the line. And the medic? She steps out, wiping her hands on a rag. She walks straight to your house. Show me your daughter, she says. No negotiation, no bartering. You bled together last night. The transaction is over. Now you are a tribe. This is how society rebuilds. Not with flags, but with shared risk. The failure now is getting complacent. You think you won. But you just made a lot of noise. And you have a pile of rotting corpses to burn. Smoke signals. We are back to where we started. The work isn't done. The amateur celebrates. The survivor cleans his weapon and starts digging a burn pit. You have to maintain the discipline. You have to refortify. The adrenaline dump is going to make you lazy. Don't let it. Some will argue, this is too much work. I'd rather just punch my own ticket. I hear that a lot. Apathy is the real virus. But look at it this way. You don't do this for you. You do it so the people you love don't have to watch you give up. You do it because the alternative is being meat. We are apex predators. We adapt. We build tools. We cooperate. That is our biological mandate. To give up is to deny your nature. We survive because we are stubborn. The final complication? The kid in the store. The scratch wasn't a bite. He's fine. But the trust you broke to quarantine him? That leaves a scar. The mother looks at you differently now. You saved them, but you showed them you were willing to let them die. That tension doesn't go away. You have an alliance, but it's built on a foundation of necessary cruelty. That is the burden of command. You trade your soul for their safety. So, week 8 isn't about zombies anymore. It's about politics. It's about the friction between fear and necessity. You started alone. Now you are a group. Next week, you might be a town. But remember this. The walls you build keep the monsters out. But the rules you set keep the monsters from growing inside you. The biggest threat to your survival isn't the bite, it's the betrayal. Watch your perimeter, but watch your people closer. The simulation ends here for the civilians, but the training continues for the unit. We have scenarios on grid-down medical triage and long-term water purification waiting in the archives. If you want access to the full debrief, click Join, support the channel, secure your rank. The world is getting quieter, which means you need to get smarter. Dismissed